Mr. Secretary, last year at this hearing, we discussed the Navy's plans for the next generation of surface combatants. The Navy has moved ahead very quickly with those plans since last year, with procurement of a new lead ship now scheduled for fiscal year 2025, which is just a couple of years after the end of the current multi-year procurement contract for the DDG-51 Flight 3s. Many of us in Congress, I will say, expected that we would see a subsequent multi-year contract for the Flight 3s. Given the challenges that lead ships often present in terms of initial budgeting and planning, as well as our past experience of transitioning to the DDG-1000 when we ended up only building 3, the last of which was dedicated just this past weekend, and then back to the 51s after buying none for 4 years. I do want to express some concerns about starting down the path to a new hull until the requirements have been thoroughly identified and validated, and industry has had the opportunity to help the Navy determine what truly is achievable. As everyone has said, stability is so important to maintaining that proven dual source surface combatant industrial base. I'd be interested in hearing more of your thoughts on how budgeting and planning for the next generation of large surface combatants will address that need to ensure stability and predictability in the industrial base.
Most definitely, Senator. I think one of the things, and we've been talking about it, is the stability of the industrial base. I want to say that certainly does not mean that the coffers of the Navy are wide open just for that purpose. We're going to make sure that we're getting the best value for our dollar, but we must weigh the stability of the industrial base at all times and its health. If I was to look at an intermediate step we're taking with the frigate, it is a fascinating exercise in that we're looking at proven hull design. We really are going to industry and saying, what do you have that we can adapt and adopt with minimal cycles of change? We're going to have quite a robust competition with 5 hulls being put forward. What we learn from that, I think, is also going to transition to the large surface combatant. And we will do this on a budgeting manner that will take into account the health of the industry to make sure that we don't find ourselves in a gapping mode.
Thank you.
If I could just pile onto that a little bit.
Yes.
Just speaking for the requirements, one of the things that we're doing differently, and we did this with Frigate as well, is to bring industry into the discussion of the requirements, right? So that we're not
critical.
Coming off with something that will just be impossible to invent and then build and then integrate. And so by virtue of doing that with the Frigate and also the unmanned tanker, it's proven itself so that we have a much more confidence in the both cost and schedule, even of the lead ship, learning lessons from the past.
Thank you. Thank you.